Welcome to the W-K Burnouts studio. I'm Christina.
And I'm Dustin.
Alan behind the scenes, keeping us in line. And Dustin, today we want to talk about Gap.
Yes.
Now, Gap, not the store Gap.
Oh, I was going to say, that's where I get all my shorts.
I don't even think Gap's around anymore.
I don't think it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
Anyways, squirrel.
Yeah.
Anyways, Gap. So what is Gap?
Well, Gap, the long term for it, well, there's a couple of different ways it's referred to. Gap Insurance.
Yes.
Gap stands for Guaranteed Asset Protection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I guess to start from the basics, that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
What does it actually do?
Yes, which is the most important.
Which is
part,
the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important for everyone to understand this. We'll get into the situations where you would need it, but essentially the best way to paint the picture is, let's say you buy a new car.
Your dream vehicle.
It's your dream vehicle. You love it.
Yeah.
You don't even negotiate. You just pay whatever's on there and you take it home. You love it.
0% down.
No money down. They didn't ask for any.
Yeah.
You didn't put any. It's all good. Rolled sales tax in there too. Heck, why not?
Have it all.
Okay.
Yep.
So you've got a pretty hefty loan on your new vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Vehicles are depreciating assets.
Absolutely.
The majority of the time,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So within a short amount of time, your beloved new vehicle gets stolen.
Dang it.
Through all the rigmarole with the police, different precincts, they got everybody working shifts on this thing. They're going to find your car.
Because you didn't buy OnStar, so they can't ping it.
Yeah, so they've worked forever. They finally found it. It's stripped down by the river.
Yeah.
Right? This thing is totaled. It's a total loss.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I've got to start all over again, right?
Correct.
I got to start all over. Got to go find another car.
Good thing I have insurance.
Good thing I get insurance. They'll pay for the car.
Mm-hmm.
Difference between, with insurance is they really don't care about your loan.
Mm-hmm.
They care of what the value of the car is that they need to pay you.
Correct.
If that amount that they pay you is less than what you owe on your vehicle, if you don't have gap insurance, you are on the hook for that
Balance.
gap in the amount, right? So you've got a brand new
Let's say a Yukon Denali Ultimate.
Okay.
$100,000.
$100,000, right? So you've got your $100,000 vehicle.
It's my dream.
You owe
vehicle.
$100,000 on it. It gets stolen. Insurance deems they'll pay you $95,000. Okay. What about my payoff is $100,000. What about that other $5,000? Well, if you don't have gap insurance, your options would be to take that $5,000 out of your pocket and pay off the remainder of your loan.
Right.
Because in all actuality, you didn't own that vehicle. The bank owned that vehicle.
Correct.
And if the bank owned that vehicle, they really don't care that you're no longer driving it because it was stolen and stripped, left down by the river.
Correct. Yeah.
Therefore, if you're wanting to start all over again and buy another one, you got to finish paying that one off first.
Yes.
And this is a scenario that happens more often than people would think. Like we said, they're depreciating assets. As soon as you drive off, it is going to be worth less than when you bought it.
Right.
And again, the picture you painted of no money down.
Yep.
Maybe rolling in sales tax too.
Correct.
You're setting yourself up for a potential bad situation if you don't have the gap insurance to cover that amount that's still left over when the insurance makes their payoff for your total vehicle.
Kind of for a long time, it took me a little bit to understand because I'm like, well, the bank loans you money, on a vehicle, and you have to the vehicle has to be worth, what you purchased the vehicle for the loan to go through. Easy to say. The loan, there's the bank that loaned you the money. I cannot get my stuff together today. And then there's your insurance, who the bank cares about the loan. The insurance cares about the vehicle. Well, there's a gap. There's a middle, well, who cares about the difference, between the value of my vehicle versus what I owe on my vehicle? And that is where your gap comes in. And that is it's kind of a third party fill in, but covers your bacon.
Yeah, guys, we're used to having add-on policies to whatever insurance we have anyhow.
Yeah.
Think about this, your Medicare, your plus plan, the stuff that you add to things that already exist. So you have car insurance that exists. That's good. That's going to cover a bunch of it.
Yeah.
But having something there to cover the gap, and you may think initially, well, I don't have to worry about this too much. The resale value on things is just, it's great right now. It's really great.
Sure. But
it still happens, and it still is something that we see people struggling through on a pretty frequent basis.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like I said, the alternatives, if you don't have gap insurance, would be for you to pull out of pocket that amount and pay off the difference.
Yeah.
Or an even worse case scenario, but something that people have to do. It happens, is they would purchase another car and then take that amount that they still owe on the car that they don't have because it's down by the river and roll that into your next loan. You don't want to do that.
Well, no. And you don't want to do that because think about it. Example, $5,000 of carryover. That's about an extra $100 a month.
Yeah.
And if you
right on top of the whole thing, $100.
Yeah. Boom. And, and you have to carry that over. I mean, over time, that may, you want another Yukon Denali Ultimate, but I mean, I know $100,000, $5,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but there may be a few features you may have to skip out on your next vehicle because you're carrying over that extra because you didn't protect yourself in the beginning.
Yeah.
So gap is something that I know they insurance you to death. Insurance, health insurance, car insurance, blah, 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 blah. But gap is something that is truly important.
It really is.
And if you say someone who doesn't need gap, who wouldn't need gap is someone who you're going to put a pretty good chunk of money down, or you have a lot of equity in the vehicle that you are purchasing.
If you put your 20% down, like the world recommends you do, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Then you're likely in a situation, an equitable situation, so that you don't need to worry about gap insurance coverage so much. If you're financing the full amount of the vehicle, especially if you're financing for a longer term, 60, 72, 84 months, it's very, very valuable, especially for those first few years.
Correct.
To have that policy.
And if you're building up your credit, we have a lot of people that are looking to get back on track with their credit. And so you're going to pay a little higher interest. And sometimes lenders, that's part of one of the stipulations, they have to have gap.
Yeah. And if you think about that, in the grand scheme of things, you're trying to get your stuff right. The lender is trying to help you continue down this path by making it so that you have to have that kind of coverage. So, sometimes people with not as good a situation are more familiar with this kind of coverage and sometimes you have to rely on it.
Yeah.
But everybody needs to consider it. There's a couple of different ways to get gap insurance.
Yes.
First and foremost, purchasing it at the point of sale where you buy the vehicle.
Yep.
They can do it for you right then. The alternative would be through your insurance provider.
Yep.
They're both different kinds of coverage, and it's something that you need to look into, thoroughly to see the differences if you have the option of one or the other.
Yeah.
But, if you're not, like we said, in a position where you put 20% or more down, or if you didn't finance a short, term, then this is something you need to more than just consider. You need to make this part of, kind of like paying your sales tax. You need to make this part of the budget for the vehicle.
Absolutely.
Is having this coverage in there.
And a lot of times, not always, but majority of the time, when you purchase your vehicle, you don't have to write a check, for the gap coverage. Some dealers, it just kind of depends on ask your dealer just, at the time, whenever you're looking at, loan options, if you have to write that check up front, or if that's something that can be included in on your loan. Because if it's something that can be included in on your loan, it's couple dollars extra, a month or whatever, but it's
better
worth
than the
it.
alternative.
Yes, it is worth it. And kind of a story to tell, because as Steve says, stories sell. I was 17 years old. I think I was 17, and I had a Grand Prix. Oh, Grand Prix GTP. My car.
GTP supercharged 3.8.
I had 3 of them things. Okay?
Wow. What'd you do with all of them, Christina?
Well, one of them was wrecked.
Oh, no.
And yes. So, and we did not have gap, didn't have gap because I didn't know what it was. I was 17 I mean, my mom,
you were a kid.
Obviously. Yeah, it wasn't in my name, but
sure.
We didn't have gap. And when the insurance provider, gave the estimate and to pay off the loan, and well, there's still like $3,200 left. Oh. Imagine being a 17-year-old and what am I going to do? How am I going to pay that $3,200?
That's the money to get your next car.
Yeah. How am I going to pay that? And I have to go without a car for how long until I pay that $3,200 that I don't even get to drive?
They wouldn't even give her another loan probably for another car because it still shows you have an outstanding balance on a car that is in pieces down by the river.
Yeah. So we had to, it was just a fiasco. You had to go get like
a signature loan or something, right? To pay that off.
Gosh, we had to do terrible. A whole, it was horrible. And being 17, I was already mad because insurance takes forever. And
because you were a 17-year-old girl. You were already mad.
I lived in the country. I had nobody to come and pick me up.
Oh.
And it was just a bad deal. So,
well, that is a very moving story.
Yeah.
That I think really paints the picture of how bad it can be if you're not properly informed of your options.
Absolutely. You just need to know your options.
Gap is generally always an option. There are some deals with active military members and stuff like that. But I think they get a different kind of gap now.
There's definitely options.
Yeah. So there's options and you need to know what they are. Gap insurance is, separate that from extended warranties, service plans, everything like that. Those, oh my gosh, they can come and pay off really, really, really well.
Yeah.
But this is one that we're like, no, you really need to consider this. This is important for many, many reasons. And we see the situations where they didn't have it on a more frequent basis than, we would like to. They were just a call away from not being in that $3,200 for nothing situation. $3,200 for nothing. Basically.
Exactly. And you think, sometimes you may think, I don't want to add that, whatever it is, $5, $7 a month, $3, whatever it is. No, because I need to keep my payment under $375. So $385. No, I can't do it. Well, and then whenever you're in that situation, you think, just do it.
Put this in the budget. Okay. That's the best advice that we can give.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for. We're in this every day, and we just think about areas of opportunity to educate people. Like what is out there, what options you have available to you that you may or may not know about till it's too late.
Yeah. Hate for you to be in that situation. We want to see as many people avoid stuff like that as possible because, man, nothing feels worse. Like if you don't have a warranty and you have to put a new engine in your car, what do you have at the end of it? A new engine?
Yeah.
Great. If you don't have gap insurance and you have to pay off a $6,000 remaining balance, what do you have at the end of that? Nothing.
Nothing.
Right.
Yeah. So even if it may not apply to you at this moment, it may help your neighbor, your cousin, your uncle,
kids.
Anybody.
Hey, Mom, what's the best advice can you give me for going to the car dealership? If you're going to get a loan on it, get gap insurance.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. I recommend it to everybody all the time. It's just
peace of mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So share, share, subscribe. Again, we appreciate all of your all's support, and we will cruise on by and pick you up next week. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
This has been a W-K Burnouts production.